It's Monday lunchtime. It's 12:30. We are live and we're linking. And today I'm going to be linking with a lovely lady who accosted me at an event I was at. And blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. So are you creating content? Do you think that content is all about likes and engagement and selling stuff? It's not. So let's bring in this week's guest, the lovely Judith Rafferty. Hello, Judith. How are you?
Hello from sunny Manchester. I was just thinking when you were saying that we could have called this episode Extreme Lurking, couldn't we?
Extreme lurking. I love that. I love that. Did you just say sunny Manchester?
It certainly is today, yeah.
Right.
Shock horror, I know.
I'm going to say, everybody in the world, 11th of August, 2004, it's not rain in Manchester. It might be some lurking. Before we go any further, red or blue?
I did not care less. And I'm really pleased I couldn't care less, because obviously it's such a major thing, not just here in Manchester, but all around the world, isn't it, really? So no, not for me.
It's funny. Anyway, Judith Rafferty, tell everybody who you are, what you do, please.
So I am a copywriter and content strategist. I mainly work in the hospitality and event sector, although many other sectors besides, both now and over the years. So I design clear, quite plucky, art-centred content that makes you stand out and shine during uncertain times, or indeed at any time.
Perfect. And so you're best placed to answer all of these content conundrums that I'm going to throw at you today.
Hopefully. Let's do it.
You've been copywriting for how long?
I've been copywriting as a full-time business for 5 years now. Pivoted, as many of us did, during the lockdown. Having said that, marketing has been in my world for 30 plus years now. So whilst I initially was a salesperson like yourself, corporate sales for many moons, of course, sales and marketing are so interwoven. And I really always enjoyed the marketing side and anything that involves me putting copy together. And it kind of come full circle, really. Yeah, I did my degree in English, not necessarily is going to make you a good copywriter. I was always top of the class kid in English. So yeah, that was the time. You know, I've done really well in corporate sales, but I'd always kind of had a bit of a devil on my shoulder that I'd never drilled down further into the wordiness, you know, that little word nerd that I was as a kid.
Okay.
So now I do.
I'm gonna come clean now, because when I was at school, I was okay, and I was in the top set for maths. I was in the top set for French. I was in the bottom set for English. and I've gone through life thinking I cannot write, and I've gone for jobs that haven't involved writing, so sales and talking to people. So isn't that bizarre?
Isn't that bizarre, considering how we sort of come on each other's radars?
Yeah,
which I know you're keen to talk about, because it is a fun story, isn't it? And there's certainly a LinkedIn lesson or two in there.
Well, no, it's a content lesson. It is a content lesson, and the thing is, right? Tell the story of how we started chatting and now you're on the show.
Okay. So Ashley does a Friday newsletter, email newsletter, and has done for several years. I think it was 2022 you started.
2021.
Right. And I found it. It you came into my sphere in 2022, and I signed up for the newsletter. And every Friday, religiously, he sends out this newsletter in the afternoon, and it's 5 ideas for LinkedIn posts for the week ahead that can be topical, or, you know, things going on in the world, or days of the year, or all of that sort of thing. And since 2022, I really shocked Ashley when I finally approached him and said hello at Uplift Live in Birmingham in March this year. I've been copying and pasting these post ideas into spreadsheets. And there I have them all, monthly spreadsheets with week by week tabs, which I showed him on my screen last week. Since 2022 of his post ideas. So that's what I meant by extreme lurking, because you just never know who's watching.
And this is the thing. I really don't think you've ever commented on any of those newsletters. You did after we'd met, but we put out newsletters, we put out content, we share stuff, we do a video, we do a live, and you'll think, no one's watching this because no one's watching it or reading it because they haven't commented, and I've not got many impressions on this post. And I speak to people and they get 500 impressions on a post, and they go, "That's rubbish." But it only takes one person to read it, and that's yourself, Judith. But could you imagine 500 people in your living room right now? Because that's the amount of people that you are touching when you get 500 impressions. And we forget all of that. 500 people in your living room, that is crazy. And so when you start getting loads of comments and things like that, or people start saving the content and using it in other ways, then it's worth creating content. And so what are the top tips for creating content, Judith, for those people that are listening now thinking, hang on a minute, they're onto something?
I would say for LinkedIn specifically, do you want me to, or just content?
Look, I'm a big LinkedIn fan, but you write content for everywhere,
I write content for everywhere. So some of my top tips that I would always give is, number one, it's all about them. I think this all about them. This is something we see on LinkedIn very frequently. I see it if I'm working on a client's website, for example. When I'm onboarding new clients, there's this tendency to gush and get very excited about, we do this and we do that and we're brilliant at this and this is what fantastic at, and this was when we set up and we won this, and it's all very well and good, and of course it's relevant information, but at the end of the day, as I always say, quite in my candid Mancunian way to my clients, just wind your neck in for a second. I hate to tell you this, nobody gives a I won't say the word.
They just don't care, do they? That's what.
They look at me all aghast, and then they get it completely when I go on to explain that many people, large companies, small companies, startups, no matter who we are, we're very close to our babies. Too close, in fact, on many occasions, to see the wood for the trees. So this is when we get very inwardly focused, and it's quite boring, to be honest. Whereas I will look at your business through the eyes of your prospect, person who's actually interested in interacting with your business and hopefully spending money with your business. I will ask the questions that they will ask. I'll convey that information in a way that will resonate with them. So it might not necessarily be jargonized. It might be a very simplified terminology, no matter what business or sector you're in. And that is what sells.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Because we go onto websites and we start like, oh, I'm really good at this. I need to put that up. And I won this award, so I need to put that up.
Yeah.
And it's
so another way that I would always suggest, that this is really top level stuff here, and this can really make a difference to the way that you write your LinkedIn posts or your website copy, your blog posts or whatever, is literally just do what I call an I-you challenge. Literally, when you've written something, just go through it, and as much as you possibly can, change I, we, or us to you.
Yeah.
So you're speaking to somebody and not about yourself, because again, it's all about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good exercise, and I would say my final absolute top line thing, it's copywriting 101. Features tell, benefits sell. So an example that I always use to describe this is something that I'm a skincare junkie, face cream, so it's like having a pot of night cream that contains retinol, peptides, hyaluronic acid on one side. On the other side, it's who else wants smooth, youthful, glowing skin without going under the needle or the knife? So, not even a product mentioned there.
No.
A product or a service there. It's literally reflecting to your target audiences how spectacular the view is from the other side after using your product or service, not blinding them with loads of boring features.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which may be necessary depending on what you do, in another place, on instructions or somewhere on your website, and that's fine. I'm talking more at a conversion level and attracting the attention of your target audience and compelling them to engage with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great tip. Now, tell me, there's so much content everywhere now. Okay. There's AI writing it, there's people doing lots and lots of blogs and posts and stuff like that, and we'll get to AI in a second. But how do you stand out when there is so much noise? And one of the biggest arguments I hear is there's too much content out there, no one's going to want to listen to me.
Yeah, and I would say that that's an absolutely fair sort of observation. It's like, as if there wasn't enough content out there pre-March 2023, and then GP suddenly appears on the horizon, and everybody goes, you know what, let's create mountains of content on top of it, and of course, what it's sort of proven to us, and I'm not anti-AI in the slightest. I use it daily for many different things in terms of productivity. But, yes, the large language models, and, they're churning out AI salad, aren't they? And I think that one of the most frustrating things about this, you scroll through LinkedIn, for example, and you 10 posts in a row, and they're all starting with in the fast-paced world of, swiftly followed by fostering. So it's like, who even use that word in relation to anything other than the temporary adoption of children, pre-March 2023. And it's created this sea of sameness, hasn't it? And as a result, everybody, I've got to use it, more productive, blah, blah, blah. We've got this tunnel vision in our head. And yet we're all saying what we crave more than anything is human connection and authenticity. So less content, more connection. And a little tip that I suggested to someone just last week, I suggested to many people, is make a little sort of list of words and phrases that are intrinsically you, and pepper them. It can be things like, I'll use, I'm very Mancunian, I'll use a, well, do you know what? Or I'll tell you what, I'd rather stick pins in my eyes. That's a very me. I'd rather poke my eyes out with a cocktail stick, And, they're maybe not great English, some of them, in the traditional sense of the word. But it's all these little isms and wasms that are way beyond AI at the moment, when everything is in passive voice rather than active voice. And, considering we've all been feeding it with with 10 million words over the past sort of 2 years. Isn't it strange how it seems to use exactly the same words for every person's content?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll just put mine up on the screen. Boom. I say that an awful lot, and people know.
Yeah, that's your word, isn't it? Boom.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? So that's a great top tip. So yeah, your idiosyncrasies. I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. If anyone's watching and you've got any questions for the lovely Judith, then please drop them in the chat, and we will answer those live. I like to put my guests in the hot seat. Right. The other thing that everyone talks about is having a scroll stopping hook. What on earth does that mean?
So that's your headline, basically. There are many different.
So this was a newspaper. It's the big print on the front page.
That's exactly what it is. Seeing as you mentioned newspapers and magazines are great, great for inspiration. If we've all got magazines hanging around the house. Just have a look at their headlines on their front page and pop them in a swipe file. They do exactly what I've been doing with your email suggestions every week. Just pull them in a spreadsheet and there they are. So there's many different types of headlines. Typical ones are listicle headlines. They've been very popular for some time, like 5 top places to visit in Portugal, or 5 this, or 7 that, or 3 that, because apparently odd numbers pique our interest more than even numbers. Would you believe? So so always go for 3, 5, 7, or 10. Would you?
Yeah. Okay.
So they are. Have always been popular headlines, question headlines. They're going to have question headlines. They are quite effective at the moment if you get your question right, because a question headline could correspond with what your target audience are typing into their search engine. So I could be typing in, for example, how do I write a LinkedIn post? And that could lead me to somebody like yourself.
Whose question on the headline is, how do you write a LinkedIn post?
How do you write a LinkedIn post? So this, it's drawing in a little bit of SEO, of course. And we won't go into that now, because of course that's a complete other subject for another day, isn't it? But it also ties in nicely to how the people are using AI more and more as search engines too. And that will find you. And I noticed actually, how we're starting to get the AI text at the top of a search when we have, when we're searching for something on the internet. One of my clients, which I was really pleased with, boom, straight up in that top piece of AI suggestions.
Because the content is well written.
And that's because we really drill down into SEO with that, and we do gorgeous long form content.
Right. What do you call gorgeous long form content?
Long form, for that particular client, 2,000 word pieces. So just to put that into context, on A4 paper, that's probably around 7 to 8 pages.
Wow. Who reads that?
So we do lots of how-to guides, really detailed stuff.
And where does that go?
That goes on their website, in the blog post section of their website. Right. Google's always favoured it because, of course, even though there are many questions going around now, is SEO dead, blah, 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 we'll see. Google, of course, Google's purpose is to serve the people.
Yeah.
And what Google wants to show people is content that's really going to be relevant to them.
Yeah.
So again, that's something that we need to bear in mind when we're churning out AI salad.
Yeah. I love how you call it AI salad. So you said you actually
I
use
call it a lot worse than that sometimes, believe you me.
So you just said you use AI. So would you like to share a little secret of how you're using AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good for at ideation stage. For example, I might pop in a question to AI. My client is XYZ, and their target audience is XYZ. Could you suggest 12 blog post subjects that I may wish to use over the next year?
And then you'll look at those.
Then it'll give you a list, and you'll go, oh, there's a few really good ones, and a few, really samey, pretty naff ones in there.
Yeah.
So I think, I use it pretty low level. I certainly don't, as we see on LinkedIn, which I've just referred to, that copy and paste verbatim. It's it's so instantly spottable, isn't it? And it really kind of makes me cringe, and I think to myself, goodness, it is that all the value you place on your business.
Yeah.
And of course, the people that are doing that, without wanting to sound superior or anything, which I'm absolutely not, that's not me at all. The people who don't know what good copy and bad copy is anyway. So, they are thinking, whoa, we're filling the boots with free marketing and not realising the adverse effect it can be having on the brand.
It would be a bit like a senior CEO or someone high up in a business sending the tea person, whoever makes the tea in the office, to the networking event because they're too busy to go.
Exactly.
And what sort of things are they going to say about the company? They don't really know much about the company. They haven't been with the company that long. They're working their way up. They may be the next CEO in a few years' time, but at this moment in time, they're not. They don't know how the company ticks. They don't know the story of the company. They don't know how it was set up, the why of the company, the culture of the company. Why would you do that? And it's not just
exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. It's like getting your intern or your apprentice in, isn't it, and saying, right, you're doing my LinkedIn posts from now on. I mean, I've received an email just this morning. It's from a global company, and it's pure AI salad. And I've actually replied to that, saying, if you need any help with copyright, or even editing your AI salad to make it more on brand. Here's my details.
And so this is a global company that have got
a global company,
very deep pockets, and they're putting out bland AI copy.
It's opened with in the competitive world of.
That's shocking. So reading that, what was your instant reaction to the company?
Oh, how poor! It's really poor, isn't it? Not what you'd expect.
Straight away, you're turned off. How many of the people?
It dents credibility, doesn't it?
So how many people this morning got that email? Would you guess?
Gosh, you're talking thousands upon thousands. It's an organisation that serves the events industry.
Yeah, so a few 100,000 emails went out this morning.
You would imagine so.
How many of those are going to have the same feeling that you had this morning? And that's the shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's an own goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
My goodness.
And I think for the, they're global, but I think for the smaller business owner, we talk so much, don't we, about authenticity in our content. And I think it's our imperfections that actually make us shine and stand out, isn't it?
Yeah.
As small business owners, honestly, so doesn't matter, does it? If so things are a bit off or a bit wrong.
It's a bit real. I did a title.
It's a bit real, when you make a mistake, and you own that mistake, and your target audience will just love you all the more for it, because you like them making a mistake that, oh God, I've dropped the client. Sorry about that, guys. Dropped the tango, got my Monday head on, blah, blah.
Well, there's some words that you actually write. And I'm trying to think just. Whenever I type just, it's always JSUT, because where the S is and the U is on the keyboard, I'm just a little bit too quick or a little bit too slow, however you want to look at it. And sometimes I leave that in, because it's definitely not AI, is it?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't leave it in on purpose, because you miss it. You miss it. And again, like you say, nobody messages me and say, "Oh my goodness, your copy's shot with spelling mistakes and stuff like that." They're probably thinking, "Oh my goodness, I do the same mistake as well. That's funny."
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you more approachable and human, like you say.
Absolutely. We've almost come to the end of our 30 minutes. Isn't that
already?
And you said we'd be able to talk for ages. What's something that somebody can do then? They're watching this and they're thinking they're gonna go away and try some content. What's a thing they should be doing right now?
Most of the things that I've already mentioned, and it can be different. It's different. For example, if it's a small owner-managed business, a new startup, a graphic designer, for example, or you're in the marketing department of a law firm. The rules of engagement are completely different, but the premise is still there to be outwardly focused rather than inwardly focused, because you're talking to you're talking to people who may not be, and probably aren't, experts in your field. So you dull down the jargon a little bit, and you may have heard the term KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to feel like they're stupid or they don't understand. Or, that might be why they're looking at your business, because they don't understand. And they may need legal services, or technical services or something. So, it's always keeping your target audience in mind and speaking in a tone of voice and a vocabulary that's going to resonate with them.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy that was being interviewed, I think it was Alex Hormozy on the Diary of a CEO. He was saying that you've got to make the copy understandable to sixth grade English, because he was saying in America that 50% of people can't read above that standard. And so therefore, if your copy is highbrow, you're alienating a huge chunk of people.
Yeah, it's the flesh reading score. That's FLESCH. And if you have the Yoast plugin on your website, you will be familiar with that, because it will score your readability. How it scores on green, orange, or red. And that's what it uses, the flesh reading ease test.
Yeah. So a nuclear physicist website would be all highbrow, whereas my website won't be.
And that's how it's, again, it's highly nuanced, isn't it? Most things are, a nuclear physicist's website, there will be a need for text speak and jargon on that person's website, because they probably aren't looking to appeal to Joe Public. So it can be a different kettle of fish if there's a real sort of authority and thought leadership, depending on, like I say, on who you're speaking to, really.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you so much, Judith. You've been an absolute star. I'm just going to give a shout out to Craig Allen, who will be on our show next week. He's the Black Knight. He's coming in to talk about all kinds of things. Yeah, you know him, don't you? So he'll be here. He'll be here next week. Judith, how can people get hold of you?
You can get hold of me. My website is fruitionventures.co.uk. Of course, you can get hold of me on LinkedIn, which I often refer to as my second home. I am on Instagram as Fruition Copywriting, and I guess you'll pop the pop the details in the show notes.
All the links will be on the podcast. So if you're listening, you can go down and listen to that. Judith, thanks so very much. Thank you for listening. And
thank you so much for inviting me. Really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. You take care. Cheerio now. Bye-bye. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. Thank you so much for watching or listening to my show this week. I want to bring to you people that can help us running our business. I love having a chat. I'm very nosy, very curious, and I'd love to ask questions. So if you want to be a guest or if you've got some ideas for guests, let me know. And if you want me to help you with your LinkedIn, get in touch because I want to give you a voice. Now, that could just be using LinkedIn, but I do other things as well. So I can help you with a podcast, a live show, and all kinds of other amazing things. So get in touch. My name is Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and you can find me on LinkedIn.